Shreveport Police Chief Ben Raymond here for a little bit. Hey, Mr. Ben, welcome back to Kiel. How are you this morning?
Doing well, thank you.
Chief, it's been a violent couple of weeks. Again, we go through these spurts. We have increased police presence. We have prayer vigils. It's frustrating. Are you as frustrated as we are?
It is. It's frustrating, and it's unfortunate that it seems like every summer when it heats up, you run into these crime waves, so to speak, where you do have a spike in violent crime.
Are you taking any action this summer? Tell us what you're doing. I know you are.
Yeah, so, we started the supplemental patrol program late last year. We've added some additional officers to that program, those that work in schools that are out for the summer when they're not, taking vacations or attending the mandatory training. They're working shifts on patrol, so we're adding to the numbers that are on the streets. We've also got some special operations running. Primarily, one of them is on a weekend day. We've seen a spike in some violent crime. The other one is during the week, and we're again using our crime analysts to kind of track when do we have these violent crimes occurring, what shift, what day of the week, and then we're putting additional people out there. What we call a special operation. It's kind of a proactive policing enforcement effort to try to target some of those criminals.
Chief, we're talking to Chief Ben Raymond. You hear it in my voice, I know. One of these incidents was somebody rolling down a window and just shooting at an intersection where 3 people, I think, get wounded. Who does that kind of thing? What's the mindset of a person who would do that?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew the answer, because if I knew the answer, then maybe we could do a better job as a community of preventing it. All too often, many of these shootings are what I would consider, I don't want to call them a random shooting, but the people that are hit are not the intended target. So a lot of them start off an argument about something else, an argument over a boy or a girl or some social media post that was made, and then all too often they turn violent. So 20, 30 years ago, whereas you may have had a fist fight, now you've got people pulling out guns and shooting at each other's houses and cars.
Do you see this more as a socioeconomic problem? Is it a matter of these folks had no...
Or does it really matter in your job in the sense that you've got to keep the good people safe?
Well, it does matter. The reason that matters is, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, the police cannot solve this problem. Now, certainly we play a role, but our officers are doing a good job. We make a lot of arrests. We make a lot of arrests for violent crimes. We have I don't want to give you the exact number. We're somewhere around 70% of solving the homicides we've had this year. So we're doing a good job, but the answer is not let's arrest people after they've committed a violent crime. The answer is let's prevent people from committing these crimes to begin with, and that starts at home, that starts at school, that starts in the church, and the police are just, if the police have to get involved to solve these violent crimes, then we're failing as a community, and that's the problem at this point.
Chief, this is a complicated, verbally too, I guess, question, so bear with me. When Mayor Perkins gave his speech at the Police Academy graduating class a few days ago, he talked about, in fact, here's a quote from the speech, building relationships is a proactive approach to policing. And he goes on in the next paragraph to compare police to when he was in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan. And the people in Afghanistan viewed the American forces as invaders. As difficult as it may be for people like me to comprehend, are there neighborhoods in Shreveport where, because of the reaction of the community, of the residents of that neighborhood or neighborhoods, Shreveport police feel like they are being treated like an invading force?
I think there are small segments of some neighborhoods that certainly respond in that manner. But I can tell you, just from my experience, those very outspoken people that seem to be anti-police and there's nothing we can do right, that is a very small minority of the number of people. They don't represent the majority of people in those neighborhoods. So I hear from a lot of people on more of a private level that tell me, hey, y'all are doing a great job. I'm sorry you're listening to some negativity. We're very supportive of our police. The problem is that people are from what I can tell, they're afraid to come out and say that publicly because they don't want to become part of that conversation where they're being spoke bad about like police officers are. So those people that do support us just kind of keep their opinions to themselves. And what we hear from are those very vocal, outspoken people that want to talk bad about officers. But I do not think that's the majority of anybody in any particular neighborhood.
So what you are telling me in a roundabout way, and it's something else that I and people like me have a lot of difficulty comprehending, that there are people in Shreveport in the neighborhoods we're talking about who feel like prisoners in their own neighborhoods because of, bluntly speaking, the bad guys.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. They're afraid to speak up against what they hear is the outspoken group, and they don't want to go against that crowd for fear.
So what, in those cases, how do you take that community policing up a notch, if that's the right term? How do you reach out to those people and help them to feel safer?
And we're trying a number of things. The key to it is to try to meet those people that say that the police officers aren't responsive to their needs, that we don't have a good, we don't interact well with them. We're trying a number of things to try to draw them in. It takes a two-way communication. So the police officers have to be willing to go into your neighborhood and speak with you about whatever problems you have, put up with whatever, certainly listen to the concerns you have about policing as a whole. But you've got to come to the table. So I've been to a number of neighborhood events, a number of community-oriented policing events, these grassroots walks and things like that. And the problem is that the people that really want to have those conversations don't show up. And so we're trying some other things. We've actually got a softball game planned this summer with the Moortown Neighborhood Association. We'll go out there and play ball with anybody that shows up. And, police officers off duty out there, playing a softball game in an attempt to try to create some conversation outside of that law enforcement role. So we're doing our best, but it takes the community to come out as well. And if you really want to have that conversation, you've got to show up to the table.
Chief, let me give you a magic wand for a minute. And you get to wave it in front of educators, the school system, the criminal justice system, the district attorneys, the church leaders, and get them to do whatever you need them to do to help you with this problem. What are the three things at the top of your list for them?
Wow. I don't think it's that easy. Let me just, give as an example. When I was growing up, especially when I was young, in elementary school, I went to a Catholic school, and then I went to a public school in about the third or fourth grade. But all through my younger education, if I did something wrong at school, the teachers had the right to treat me as a parent. I got spankings, I was punished, I was held responsible for my actions or inactions. I don't think that you have that now. I don't think we can blame the teachers. I think it's somewhat a societal problem. We don't want other people to discipline our children. There's a number of people disagree in a large. There's a large variety of what people believe to be proper discipline. I don't think that we hold people accountable, outside of the law enforcement realm or the criminal realm in a number of ways. And so I don't know that there's just, a magic wand that says, hey, let's do these things differently. I think it's kind of a cultural thing at this point where we just treat people differently. We allow people to get away with more activities than they did, 20, 30 years ago. And I think that is a contributing factor to the problems that we now see with our crime rate.
Shreveport Police Chief Ben Raymond, you got 20 new officers on the streets. Congratulations on the latest academy. Appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You